The vast emptiness of space stretched before the celestial horizon, a sleek human exploration vessel that moved with calculated precision. Commander Elena Kim stood at the bridge, her posture straight and her eyes fixed on the holographic display. The ship's sensors hummed with quiet intensity, searching the dark expanse for any sign of potential contact. Around her, the bridge crew worked silently. David Park, the communications specialist, monitored incoming signals with a focused expression. His fingers moved across quantum interface panels, translating potential communication streams in real time. The ship's systems were prepared for anything, or so they believed. Suddenly, a massive crystalline structure emerged from the darkness. It wasn't a natural formation, but a spacecraft of unprecedented design. Its surface shimmered with complex, geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. The alien vessel dwarfed the human ship, its presence both beautiful and intimidating. "Incoming transmission," David announced, his voice steady despite the tension that filled the bridge. Elena nodded, her hand resting near the communication interface. First contact protocols were delicate, and years of training had prepared her for this exact moment. The human delegation had studied countless scenarios, but nothing could fully prepare them for the actual encounter. The alien communication burst through, not in words, but in complex mathematical patterns and visual representations. It was a language beyond traditional understanding, a mathematical symphony that required sophisticated decoding algorithms. David's fingers moved rapidly, translating the intricate message. "They're requesting basic communication verification," he said, glancing at Elena. The commander stepped forward, her movements calculated and precise. She understood that every gesture, every response would be analyzed and interpreted by the alien civilization. Humanity's first impression hung in the balance. The ship's quantum communication array activated, sending a response that blended mathematical precision with subtle cultural markers. It was a careful dance of information, showing technological capability without appearing threatening. Aboard the alien vessel, beings of extraordinary complexity observed the human response. Their perception was different from human understanding. They saw communication as a multidimensional experience, not just an exchange of words or ideas. June Lee, the ship's chief science officer, monitored the technological exchange. His screens displayed complex data streams, tracking every microscopic interaction between human and alien communication systems. Something unusual was happening. The alien systems were attempting to understand not just the message, but the intent behind the message. The bridge remained silent, each crew member understanding the historical significance of this moment. Decades of space exploration, countless technological advancements, and human curiosity had led to this singular point of potential connection. Minutes passed like hours. The alien vessel maintained its position, its crystalline surface reflecting distant starlight. No aggressive movements, no signs of hostility, just pure calculated observation. Elena's hand unconsciously touched a small device on her communication panel, a simple red button that seemed completely unremarkable. But within that button lay a complex network of adaptive technologies that could potentially rewrite entire communication protocols if necessary. David's translation systems began to stabilize the alien communication. Fragments of meaning started to emerge. Requests for mutual understanding, curiosity about human technological capabilities, and a hint of caution. "They want to understand our purpose," David reported, his voice a mix of excitement and professional restraint. The commander smiled slightly. Humanity's purpose was simple yet complex: exploration, understanding, connection. Not conquest, not domination, but genuine curiosity about the universe and its potential inhabitants. As the two vessels hung in space, separated by kilometers, but connected through invisible communication threads, something remarkable was happening. Two entirely different civilizations were attempting to bridge an impossible gap, not through force, but through careful, deliberate communication. The red button remained untouched, a silent promise of potential capabilities that the aliens could not yet comprehend. It represented humanity's greatest strength: adaptability, innovation, and the ability to transform unexpected challenges into opportunities. First contact was never about immediate understanding. It was about the potential for understanding, the first delicate steps towards a broader galactic conversation. And so, in the silent darkness between stars, humanity and an unknown alien civilization began their first conversation. A dialogue that would potentially change everything. The research station orbited a distant nebula, its sterile white corridors filled with an electric sense of anticipation. Kira Nolan, the lead alien researcher, stood before a holographic display that showed the intricate details of human technology. Her multi-jointed fingers traced the complex patterns, revealing a growing sense of confusion and curiosity. Beside her, a team of alien scientists studied the captured data from the initial human encounter. They had expected primitive technology, basic communication systems, and predictable computational methods. Instead, they found something entirely different. The red button fascinated them most. It looked simple, almost embarrassingly so. A small, unremarkable element that seemed completely out of place among the advanced technological interfaces. But something about its design suggested a deeper complexity that their most advanced scanning systems couldn't fully decode. Jun Lee, the human chief science officer, watched their analysis with a subtle smile. He knew exactly what they were seeing, but understanding was another matter entirely. Human technology wasn't just about complex circuits or advanced algorithms. It was about adaptability, creativity, and unexpected solutions. The alien scanning systems probed deeper. They discovered that the red button wasn't just a button. It was a quantum adaptive network interface capable of instantaneous systemic reconfiguration. Each scan revealed new layers of complexity, like peeling an infinite onion of technological possibility. "This makes no logical sense," one of the alien researchers muttered, frustration evident in their translated communication. Traditional alien technology followed strict hierarchical systems. Each component had a specific predetermined function. Components worked in carefully managed sequences, with minimal room for improvisation. The human technology challenged everything they understood about technological design. The red button represented something revolutionary. It wasn't just a switch or a control mechanism. It was a potential gateway to entire network reconfigurations. One simple press could potentially reorganize complex systems, adapt to unexpected challenges, and create solutions that didn't exist moments before. Days turned into weeks. The research team worked tirelessly, their initial confusion slowly transforming into a grudging respect. They began to understand that human technology wasn't about perfection, but about potential. Each scan revealed new surprises, new possibilities that their rigid technological framework couldn't comprehend. June watched their progress, occasionally making subtle adjustments to the data they were analyzing. He wasn't trying to hide information. He was presenting a puzzle that would challenge their entire understanding of technological development. The station's main computer struggled to categorize the human technological approach. Traditional classification systems failed. The technology didn't fit into any known computational model. It was fluid, adaptive, almost alive in its responsiveness. "We are missing something fundamental," Kira announced to her team. Her voice, a mixture of professional frustration and genuine scientific excitement. The red button became an obsession. Multiple research teams began studying its potential, developing increasingly complex theories about its function. Some believed it was a self-destruct mechanism. Others thought it might be a cultural ritual trigger. Few came close to understanding its true nature. What they didn't realize was that the button represented something uniquely human, the ability to see beyond current limitations, to imagine solutions that didn't yet exist. It wasn't just a technological tool. It was a symbol of human innovation. Quantum scanners continued their relentless analysis. They mapped complex neural-like networks that seemed to learn and adapt with each interaction. The technology didn't just respond to inputs. It anticipated potential challenges and prepared multiple solution pathways simultaneously. June occasionally adjusted a small interface, sending subtle signals that further confused the alien research team. He was playing a complex game of technological chess, revealing just enough to maintain their interest while keeping the most significant capabilities hidden. The research station buzzed with an unusual energy. What had started as a routine technological analysis was transforming into something much larger, a potential revolution in understanding technological development. As weeks passed, the alien researchers began to realize that they were looking at more than just another species' technology. They were witnessing a fundamentally different approach to problem solving, a technological philosophy that challenged everything they knew. The red button sat quietly, unassuming yet powerful, a silent promise of capabilities that were just beginning to be understood. In the cold, sterile environment of the research station, a technological revolution was quietly taking shape, one quantum signal at a time. The Orion cluster burned with tension. Alien warships surrounded a small human colony, their massive weapons systems primed for total destruction. Commander Elena, Kim stood on the bridge of the celestial horizon, watching the incoming threat with calculated calm. Traditional military strategists would have recommended surrender or immediate evacuation, but humans had never been traditional. David Park's fingers hovered near the small red button. The entire ship seemed to hold its breath, waiting for a single command. Around them, complex holographic displays showed multiple potential conflict scenarios, each more devastating than the last. The alien fleet represented technological superiority in every conventional measure. Their weapons could obliterate entire planetary systems. Their defense shields were considered impenetrable. Their computational systems processed information thousands of times faster than human technologies. Yet something was different this time. Elena's eyes narrowed. She understood that this wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration of human potential. One press of the button would change everything. Initiate adaptive network protocol, she commanded softly. David pressed the red button. Instantly, something extraordinary happened. The human communication systems didn't just respond, they transformed. Quantum algorithms rewrote themselves in milliseconds. Defense mechanisms merged and adapted. Strategic computational networks created solutions that didn't exist moments before. The alien warships suddenly found their targeting systems compromised. Weapon arrays redirected themselves. Complex communication networks collapsed and rebuilt, themselves with impossible speed. What seemed like chaos was actually a sophisticated, living technological response. Jun Lee monitored the systems, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces. He wasn't just defending, he was learning, adapting, turning the entire conflict into a dynamic technological experiment. The alien commanders watched in stunned silence. Their rigid technological frameworks couldn't comprehend what was happening. Entire weapon systems became useless. Communication channels twisted and reconfigured themselves. Defense mechanisms transformed into offensive capabilities in nanoseconds. Humanity wasn't fighting with traditional weapons. They were fighting with pure technological creativity. Strategic algorithms calculated potential outcomes continuously. Each alien attack was immediately analyzed, understood, and neutralized before it could fully develop. The human systems didn't just defend. They anticipated, predicted, and reconstructed themselves faster than thought. Adaptive response confirmed, David reported, his voice steady. The red button had done more than activate a defense mechanism. It had unleashed a living, breathing technological organism that could think, learn, and respond with unprecedented speed. Alien ship commanders struggled to understand. Their computational systems, designed for millions of years of consistent performance, began to fail. Traditional military strategies collapsed under the weight of human unpredictability. Elena watched the holographic displays, her expression calm. This wasn't just about winning a battle. This was about demonstrating a fundamental difference in technological approach. Hours passed like minutes. The alien fleet, once considered invincible, found themselves completely neutralized, not through superior firepower, but through adaptive intelligence that rewrote technological possibilities. The red button remained the silent hero, a simple interface that represented humanity's greatest strength. It wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about the ability to imagine, to adapt, to transform challenges into opportunities. As the conflict concluded, the alien commanders realized something profound. Humanity wasn't just another species to be categorized or conquered. They were a fundamental force of technological evolution. The celestial horizon systems hummed with quiet victory. No massive explosions, no dramatic destructions. Just a quiet, fundamental transformation of an entire conflict through pure technological creativity. June looked at Elena and smiled. They both understood that this was more than a battle. This was a message to the galaxy. Humans were different, unpredictable, adaptive, unstoppable. The red button sat quietly, waiting for its next challenge. In the vast darkness of the Orion cluster, humanity had just rewritten the rules of technological engagement. The galaxy watched in quiet amazement. Humanity's technological approach spread like a quantum wildfire, touching every known civilization with its revolutionary potential. What started as a simple demonstration of adaptive technology had become a fundamental shift in understanding innovation. Research stations across multiple star systems began studying human technological methods. Scientists from different species gathered, attempting to understand the principles behind the remarkable red button and its associated adaptive networks. Elena Kim traveled from one galactic conference to another, not as a military commander, but as a technological ambassador. Her presentations weren't complex technical lectures. They were simple demonstrations of human problem-solving capabilities. Innovation is not about perfect systems, she would explain. It's about the ability to change, to adapt, to see possibilities where others see limitations. The alien civilizations had developed technologies that remained unchanged for thousands of years. Their computational systems were precise, predictable, almost mechanical in their consistency. Humanity introduced a radical concept: technology as a living, breathing entity that could learn and transform. June Lee developed training programs that taught alien researchers the fundamental principles of adaptive technological thinking. These weren't traditional educational methods. They were interactive experiences that challenged existing technological paradigms. Small human research teams began collaborating with alien scientific groups. Each collaboration revealed new possibilities. A communication system developed by a human Zarkonian team could now reconfigure itself based on environmental challenges. A defense network created by human and Orion researchers could predict and neutralize potential threats before they fully developed. The red button became more than a technological tool. It became a symbol of human potential, a representation of creativity, adaptability, and unexpected solutions. Some alien civilizations resisted. They saw human technology as chaotic, unpredictable, potentially dangerous. Traditional technological frameworks felt threatened by this new approach that challenged everything they understood about system design. But younger generations of alien researchers saw something different. They saw potential. They saw a way of thinking that wasn't bound by traditional limitations. David Park traveled to multiple research centers, demonstrating how human technological approaches could solve complex problems that had remained unsolved for generations. A communication challenge that had stumped Centaurian researchers for decades was solved in a matter of hours using human adaptive network principles. The transformation wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. Humanity was teaching the galaxy that technology wasn't about perfection, but about potential. It wasn't about creating unchanging systems, but about developing frameworks that could continuously learn and adapt. Research stations began redesigning their entire computational approaches. Alien civilizations started incorporating human-inspired adaptive algorithms into their most critical systems. What was once seen as a risky, unconventional approach was now becoming a standard of technological development. Quantum networks transformed. Defense systems became more responsive. Communication technologies learned to anticipate and respond to complex environmental changes. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of this transformation. Not through military might, not through aggressive expansion, but through a fundamentally different way of thinking about technology and problem-solving. Elena would often remind her teams, "We're not just developing technology. We're showing the galaxy a new way of understanding possibility." The red button remained a constant reminder of this philosophical approach. A simple interface that represented something much larger than itself, the human capacity to imagine, to adapt, to transform challenges into opportunities. Alien civilizations began to see humanity differently. No longer were they a young, inexperienced species. They were technological innovators bringing a fresh perspective that challenged existing understanding. Research conferences became platforms of excitement and potential. Young alien scientists would gather, discussing human technological principles with a sense of wonder and possibility. The transformation was quiet but fundamental. It wasn't about replacing existing technologies, but about showing that there were multiple ways to approach technological development. As galactic computational networks began to reflect these new adaptive principles, something remarkable happened. Problems that had seemed impossible began to find solutions. Challenges that had remained static for generations suddenly found new approaches. Humanity had done more than introduce a new technological method. They had introduced a new way of thinking about potential, about adaptation, about the very nature of technological development. The red button sat quietly, a simple reminder of a profound technological revolution. The darkness between galaxies held a terrible secret. An ancient civilization moved silently, consuming entire star systems with mechanical precision. They were known as the Void Consumers, a technological nightmare that had systematically destroyed countless civilizations over millions of years. Most galactic species had simple strategies when confronting this threat: hide, run, or face inevitable destruction. Humanity saw something different. Commander Elena Kim assembled a unique coalition. Representatives from 27 different alien civilizations gathered aboard the celestial horizon. Each species brought their most advanced technologies, their most complex computational systems. But the real weapon wasn't their technology, it was their approach. The red button sat at the center of the conference table, a simple device that represented humanity's most powerful asset: adaptive thinking. Jun Lee explained the strategy with remarkable simplicity. "We don't fight like traditional military systems. We learn, we adapt, we transform." The Void Consumers represented absolute technological perfection. Their systems were designed for total destruction. Millions of civilizations had tried traditional defense mechanisms. All had failed. Humanity proposed something radical. Instead of a single defensive strategy, they would create a living, breathing technological network. A system that could learn, change, and respond in real time. Each alien species contributed their unique technological capabilities. Human adaptive algorithms merged these systems into a complex, responsive network. What seemed impossible began to take shape, a collaborative defense mechanism that could think and react faster than any single technological system. David Park managed the communication interfaces. His fingers moved with incredible speed, integrating complex technological languages into a unified system. Traditional communication barriers dissolved. Species that had never successfully communicated before now shared computational thoughts in milliseconds. The first encounter with the Void Consumers happened near the Andromeda's outer rim. Traditional sensors would have detected total destruction within moments, but this new collaborative network saw something different. The adaptive system didn't just defend, it learned, it understood, it anticipated. Weapon systems from different species merged into complex responsive formations. Communication networks created predictive models faster than the Void Consumers could process. Defense mechanisms transformed continuously, making traditional attack strategies useless. Elena watched the battle unfold, understanding that this was more than a military engagement. This was a demonstration of collaborative potential. The void. Consumers encountered something they had never experienced before, a technological entity that wasn't fixed, that could change its fundamental nature in milliseconds. An organism made of multiple species, thinking and responding as a single adaptive unit. Battles that would have lasted seconds now stretched into hours. The collaborative network continued learning, transforming, developing new strategies with each passing moment. Alien military commanders watched in amazement. This wasn't just a defense. This was a fundamental reimagining of technological engagement. The red button remained at the center of everything, a symbol of human innovation, of the ability to see potential where others saw only limitation. Days turned into weeks. The void consumers found themselves facing a technological opponent that defied all their computational models. A network that could predict, adapt, and transform faster than any known technological system. Slowly, the impossible began to happen. The void consumers didn't just face resistance, they encountered a truly collaborative technological organism that could learn and grow in real time. The battle wasn't about destroying an enemy. It was about demonstrating a fundamental truth. Collaborative potential was more powerful than individual perfection. As the conflict concluded, something remarkable happened. The collaborative network didn't just defend. It began to understand the void consumers. Their technological systems, once seen as pure destruction, became subjects of scientific analysis and potential transformation. Elena understood that this was humanity's greatest strength. Not military might, not technological superiority, but the ability to see potential in everything, even in what seemed most hostile. The red button sat quietly, a simple reminder of a profound truth. Survival wasn't about power. It was about understanding, adaptation, and the willingness to see beyond current limitations. In the vast darkness between galaxies, a new understanding of technological engagement had been born.